The idea for the squadron came out of a conversation. We were looking for a way to keep people flying. As a lot of people know, pilots will get their license, they'll fly for around 5 years and then they stop flying. One of the principal reasons is boredom. The idea of the squadron was to give people a reason to keep flying. Flying one of these aircraft is a challenge. The whole ethos of the project is that it is inclusive, not exclusive. We never wanted a cadre of elite pilots flying the aeroplanes. Anybody with a PPL can fly the aeroplanes. The Spitfire is probably the most iconic aircraft in the world, even today. If you ask them, the man in the street, which is a Spitfire and which is a Hurricane, they'll recognise the Spitfire. It was easy for us because there was this beautiful kit that was readily available, and they just introduced the bigger version, the 90% scale, which was exactly what we've been looking for, and it had come out a couple of years before we started the project. The Mk26B, it comes in a huge box. There are 2,500 bits, 11,000 rivets, a lot of cursing and swearing, but the end result is a stunning piece of kit. Mike O'Sullivan, who conceived the Mk26, wanted to produce an aeroplane that was as close to the original as he possibly could, using the same materials and the same production methods. He did not want a plastic Spitfire. The Mk26B has a real presence, and considering the cost and the accessibility of them, it's such a brilliant kit, and it's a lot of aeroplane for not a lot of money, really. So the first Spitfire we started to build was in 2012. I got the article in the Telegraph, and it exploded. As a result, I put out the idea of syndicate membership, and they were snapped up. So I had 12 shareholders immediately, and off we went. None of us knew anything about building an aeroplane. The team had never met. None of them were engineers. None of them built an aeroplane before, and they produced a superb aeroplane. The first flight of the Spitfire was supposed to be on the 5th of March, and that was the anniversary at the time of the first flight of the Spitfire. But unfortunately, no one was available, so it didn't fly till later on that month. But I think everybody had a great day, and Jez, who flew it, did a superb job. Really showed it off. It was an emotional and relief. The second Spitfire we started building almost immediately in 2014. That kit arrived from America, and we were off. The process was the same. We'd established a build protocol. We knew better how to build it. None of the original team came across. One or two of them gave advice on particular areas, but it was a brand new team. Molly Rose was an air transport auxiliary pilot. She is the daughter of the Marshals, the people at Marshals of Cambridge, and asked her dad that she wanted to fly, and he said, well, okay, fair enough, but you go and work in the engineering department. So she was actually a very accomplished engineer before she became a pilot. She delivered over 700 Spitfires and flew 72 different types of aircraft. The reason the Molly Rose Spitfire has two names is because the Air Transport Auxiliary primarily delivered new aeroplanes, and they would have been unmarked. And unmarked Spitfires look slightly odd. And once it got a squadron marking on them, they look much better. So we selected a group of pilots who didn't make it. They were young, inexperienced, and they were up against a formidable enemy, and they didn't last very long. And the Molly Rose Spitfire carries the markings of a Spitfire that Hugh William Riley was flying when he was killed. It's just another way of us paying tribute to those really missing people who really no one knows about. Ace Squadron is a tribute to the many, not just the few. The few did amazing things, but there were so many more people that put them there. And this project is about paying tribute to all those people. Many thousands of people worked to produce these fabulous aeroplanes, and no one really knows about them. All their names would be collated onto a scroll, which would then be sealed in a time capsule inside the aircraft. So the aircraft becomes a flying tribute to the many. And we already have the 4,500 names of all the people that worked within the Air Transport Auxiliary, and their scroll is being prepared and it will go inside the aircraft. COVID's been a disaster for all sorts of businesses, and us included, and the squadron in particular. We're at that stage where we need 2 or 3 people to work on the aircraft. You can't do it on your own, and because of COVID we can't have 2 people working together from different households. But it's had a dramatic effect on the whole project. We've not been able to operate our Spitfire tours, we've not been able to operate our lunches and dinner and simulator, and the flying club we stopped flying. The idea of the simulator was to give people an opportunity to come in and have a bit of fun, get educated, but also contribute to the costs of the project. John Fellows, he's developed this simulator, which is absolutely brilliant. It's got authentic controls, replicas, and it's all linked. It's absolutely fabulous. And he said, would you fancy one of these? And I went, yeah. I said, but I just haven't got the cash at the moment. And a second-hand one came up, which we bought. And he then said, I've got a prototype cockpit idea. Would you like to have one? I went, yeah, of course. And it now looks absolutely like the inside of a Spitfire cockpit. It's stunning. There are more and more 2-seat Spitfires flying around than ever before, and in fact I think there are now more 2 Spitfires than were ever made, and yeah, there is a group of people that can fly those 2,700 pounds for 20 minutes, but there's an awful lot more people who just can't, and this gives them the opportunity to do that and have a lot of fun. The plan with the next 3 Spitfires, that's a project in itself, and we need to raise the cash. So the idea is to raise the cash by a new scheme and order 3 aircraft simultaneously. There are efficiencies in building more kits simultaneously. The problem you have with this particular kit is you start at the extremities and work in, and you get to the point where you've only actually got room for 2, maybe 3 at a push people to work, particularly when you get to the cockpit and the engine. There is no room. So the idea of being able to build 3 kits alongside each other means that we can move people from the wings on one to the fuselage on another. So ultimately we finish all the kits at the same time, but we keep the teams that are working on them busy. The opportunity to do it now is perfect. We can achieve this. We've done 2. There's no doubt that this can be done. There's no reason that we cannot build this squadron.